This week it's all about riding a DCT motorcycle like this and the top 3 questions that I keep getting asked. Question 1, how do you do a U-turn on a DCT motorcycle? Okay, first things first, let's fire up, ignition on, and it will automatically go into neutral there. Okay, so we can start it up. The stand is up now. And all we need to do is we got the settings here, which is neutral, drive and sport. So we're just going to push it into drive and it's in gear. You feel a little clunk, but essentially it doesn't do anything until you start rolling on the throttle. Alright, so give it a bit there. Like so. I'm going to try not to drag the brake here, the rear brake. I'm on a bit of a ropey surface here as well, so it doesn't help. But you just need to twitch it. It doesn't take... oh, foot down, failed. You only need to do, twitch it just a little bit. A little bit of brake drag there. So let's go around again. So on conventional motorcycles, on a manual, you'd be feathering the clutch here, wouldn't you? Whereas on a DCT, it's better just to give it a little bit of a flick on and off every now and then. I'm not dragging the brake at all here, so you can see how easy it is. Hopefully you can see how much my wrist is turning as well. So like I say, that's without dragging the rear brake, so it would actually be easier if I was to drag the brake. Let's do that again, going the other way. That is full lock as well. That's quite a tight turning circle I'm getting there, so they're not particularly light bikes either, these bikes, to say the least. There you go, just flowing around now, look. So overall, it's just a matter of getting used to it. You don't really miss the clutch because you just let go the throttle when you need to do that. So again, just to take you down here, look, from a standstill, nothing happens. Foot off the brake, everything's clear. Just give it a little tickle. Goes up to 15,000 RPM. Might change into second in a minute. There you go, into second. That back down to first. Ever so smooth. You don't really feel it really. You hear a clunk of the gears going in and out, but that's about as far as it goes really. So there you go, very easy. It's just like a clutch bike, or it certainly reacts like a clutch bike, but you're just using the accelerator only, and you're letting the computer system do all the engaging of the clutch for you. That's answered that one. On to the next. Right, next up, number 2. Do I miss riding a bike that's got gears on it? I can truthfully say, no, I don't. I honestly do not. My brain tells me that I should. If you asked me a few years ago, I would have said I couldn't even imagine riding a bike without shifting gears. Psychologically, it doesn't make sense to me. But ironically, I can honestly say I don't miss it at all. And in fact, even when I get on a bike, see the gears going up there? Even when I get on a bike that's manual, it's just like a duck to water. I don't get on it thinking, oh, I miss all this clutching and shifting gears. I just get on it and go. And in fact, if anything, I get on it and think to myself, well, what's the point of all this? All the changing gear. So no is the answer. I don't miss it in the slightest. Also in traffic, when it's quite easy to mess up, and we've all been there, when you need to sort of pull away and you're filtering, and you need to give it a quick stab of the beans, and you find out you're in the wrong gear, then you've got that downtime of changing gear. Whereas with these, they just drop a cog and away you go. I'm in drive at the moment, so if I suddenly give it some beans, then it will just go. So when you're in traffic and you get yourself in trouble, to know that you can do that is pretty good. So again, to me it seems I was the biggest one in the world for saying I want to change gear, I don't want an automatic bike, or what I looked at the time, ashamedly, as a scooter. Nothing like a scooter. I'm sure everybody knows that now, but this does actively change gear for you. It isn't on a CVT belt drive cone system, the way those clutches work. So do I miss it, the manual gear changing? Honestly, I really don't. This is such a nice way to relax and just and ride a motorbike. It's really nice. Slipped gear now, 42 miles an hour, 2,000 revs, and it's just sipping a little bit of petrol, just a little winky bit there. Because I'm in drive mode, it's going to select the highest gear as soon as it possibly can, and the engine can feel a little bit lumpy when it's doing that, but actually all it's doing is it's doing as it's told. It's changing to the highest gear and saving me money on fuel. If I want to change it into sport, make it feel less lumpy, then that's fine. And a lot of people just leave it in sport all the time, but for me, I just leave it in drive because I'm a bit tight like that. Okay, next question that I commonly get asked is how reliable is a DCT gearbox? That one's come up quite a few times, and I'm happy to say that you can go through the internet and bikes that have done hundreds of thousands of miles on a DCT box, whether that's a Africa Twin, Nc750, Crosstourer, and they all have a 99% reliability factor. These gearboxes just don't tend to go wrong, you know, even after tens of thousands of miles. It's one that I always get asked, and I think that people are going to, some people think that you can be riding along one day and a bunch of springs are going to start popping out the bottom of your bike. But it just isn't. They are so reliable. The only thing that you do have to do every now and then, and you don't even have to do it, but you can do a DCT reset. I'll put a card above here actually on how to do that. Alright, but every now and then you'll find that the clutch, when pulling away, engages a little bit harshly. You know, you get a bit of a jolt. Nothing to worry about at all, but it's not as smooth as what it normally would be. So doing the DCT reset takes a matter of a minute, and it smooths it out again. But essentially, for something that is very, very complicated, you know, I'd love to take a DCT gearbox apart. I certainly wouldn't get it back together again. But for something that's so complicated, it's incredibly reliable. You know, certainly by today's standards, with bikes and cars and vans getting so complicated, you just don't get any issues with these gearboxes. So if that's one of the things that you're really worried about, then honestly I should just let it go, because these bikes are absolutely fantastic. Nice bike. Mate, XRK, that's the one I test rode. Right, so there you go. That's this week's video done, and that has quashed the 3 most commonly asked questions that I get about riding a DCT motorcycle.